So in this recording, I'm going to show you how I used raised letters to edit a chapter in my book. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into raised letters. You can see here, and let me just unclick this so I can show you from the start. Okay. So it'll look something like this when you first load up, and just go into the left bar, and I've already prepared my manuscript, and you can just click on manuscript here and then click into any of the chapters that you want to edit. If you don't have your manuscript uploaded, we have a YouTube video on a tutorial on how to do this. But basically, you just click this upload button, you choose your file, select it, and then upload it. And what it'll do is it'll automatically generate all of your chapters. It'll generate your persona, style guide, world, Bible, characters, timeline. And all of these I've gone into depth in another tutorial, so I won't spend time here. But just kind of quickly resharing so that we're all on the same page. Now, when editing a chapter, you're going to spend most of your time in this editor pane. The first thing you want to do is click on narrative and select your tense, your POV, your format, and rewrites. And let me quickly walk you through what each one does. So your tense, this is basically like what tense you're writing in. So for example, are you writing in past tense? Most novels are written in the past tense. There's some notable exceptions, like Hunger Games is written in the present tense. A lot of scripts are written in the present tense, for example. So this is kind of an important thing to set. The PO and the reason why we're setting all of these is because when you're getting feedback or when you're editing, your editor is actually going to call out cases when you slip the tense, or for example, if you kind of slip out of POV, out of your chosen POV, it'll call that out and also help you figure out how you can improve it, how you can fix it. So the POV, the same kind of thing as tense. Typically you choose one POV to write in for your entire novel, and you need to stick with that. Otherwise, it can be quite jarring for your readers. And so, same thing here. You set your POV, close third, first person, distant third, omniscient. And then you also set your format. So in my case, mine's in close third. A lot of novels are in first person. Again, you can choose what you want here. And then you choose your format. So format is basically, we have two format options. You have prose or script. Raised letters is primarily written for prose. And so that's kind of what we're going with here. And my novel is a book. We've started adding in options for scripts. And so feel free to play around with that if you do have a script, but we'll be sticking in prose for this session. And then finally, this one, rewrites only when asked. So in most of your interactions, as you're getting feedback, a lot of writers are, you don't want your, you have your pride, right? You want to actually write your novel, and you don't want LLM to just start suggesting rewrites for you. And a lot of writers can be really sensitive to this, and me personally as well. Because sometimes it'll suggest something, and then it's an idea that's hard to get out of your head, and then it kind of feels like cheating if you use it. So if you want to actually make sure you're doing the work, then toggle this. And generally speaking, it won't rewrite for you, but this is just an extra layer of protection to make sure that, hey, as you're working through your novel, it's not going to just start suggesting to rewrite for you unless you ask it. So you can choose how you want this. I'm going to turn it off for now because I haven't really found it necessary. But if you do feel like it's necessary, then feel free to select that. Okay, so that's the narrative. So these are kind of like, this one's kind of like fire and forget. So you kind of set these once at the beginning of your novel, in the beginning of your project, and you're probably not going to touch these again. The next one is called persona, and persona is basically like what do you want your editor to care about. So like, for example, if you're writing a sci-fi, then you probably want an editor that cares about the things that it matters in sci-fi. And if you're writing a romantasy, you want your editor to care about the things that matter for romantasies. Mystery, thriller, literary fiction, etc. So we're providing quite a few kind of editor lenses out of the box. And you can choose one of these, but what you can also do is you can create your own editor. So to do that, you can choose custom editor, and what you can do here, and this is actually really fun, is you can just type in, if it's a known person, a known someone kind of public works, you can type that person in, and then what we'll do is we'll research their style, their kind of the things that their craft, essentially, the things they care about, and we'll kind of create an editor based on that, and then when you're getting feedback, is going to be getting feedback through that lens. So for example, let's say I'm a big fan of Robert Jordan, for example. Okay, so I'm gonna type this in. Now, Robert Jordan, he's so what you do is you type in the kind of person you're interested in. You can choose like a base template. It's gonna build off that base template using the name you created. So we create a generate, and this will go ahead and do the research. Now in this case, I'm using, I type the name of an author. Now you don't need to do that. You can actually create. This is just free form. You can do anything you want. You can create any. You can call it strict editor, for example, or whatever you want to call it. And then you can either generate something for you based on the template and then edit this however you like and save it. And then you'll have your saved editor here. And then you can, in this case, I selected it. If I want to edit it, you can always go back here and edit it. So this is really fun, and I just encourage you to do it. I'm writing kind of like it's not a romantasy, I'm writing kind of sci-fi-y is the best way to describe it. So I kind of created my personal kind of Sarah J. Maas editor, and that's what I'm going to, and that's kind of like how I'm getting my feedback. And just one thing to kind of clarify, that these are not intended to write for you, right? Like the purpose of this is to help you write better, but like actually achieve, like write the way you want to write, and help you achieve that goal. So that's what these are for, and I found them to be quite fun. So I do recommend playing around with creating your own editor. But if you want to just jump right in, just go ahead and select one of the ones that we've already created for you. Okay, so you've set your narrative, you set your editor personas. The next thing you want to do is set your mode. Okay, so the mode. This is basically what you want your editor to do for you, like what you're kind of working on at the moment. So we've got a few modes. So we've got writing buddy. This is when you're just kind of like bouncing ideas back and forth, trying to figure out how to tackle a challenge. That's what I want to do some research on how did other authors handle this? How did other authors handle this situation? It'll go ahead and research for you, and I found this to be quite helpful. Strict editor. This is when you want like an editorial pass. So what I mean by that is like, hey, go through my manuscript, give it an edit, fix any spelling errors, fix any tense errors, and it'll actually just go ahead and fix those for you automatically. And then you can read through it and choose to take it, or you can choose to reject it. So this is like kind of when you want to give like a bulk pass through your chapters, and I'll gonna get back into why we set the narrative, why we set the mode, why we have a world Bible, characters, and timeline, and style guide is because when your strict editor is going to give you feedback or kind of like edit things, it's going to do it with all of that in mind. If you're like, hey, this is my style, and I want you to help me achieve that style. Then it's going to help you do that. And it'll give you like a critical eye when it's saying like, if you're choosing a Sarah J. Maas editor who cares about like things being ancient and lived in, or having slow burn, it'll also give you suggestions there too. It's like, hey, there's an opportunity for slow burn in this chapter, or hey, this doesn't really feel ancient and lived in, and and you can work on it to help you fix that. So that's why all of these are important to set up. and then this is kind of like, again, how you interact with it. The manuscript review, so Annotator, this is, I think I use probably Annotator and Writing Buddy the most. And so you'll see as I get into that. And then you have manuscript review. This is when you want to give your entire novel a check, just get a feedback on the whole thing, like, plot threads, style, suggestions, etc. That's what manuscript review. And finally translator. And translator is like if you want to translate to a different language. So let's go ahead and go with Annotator because that's what I tend to work in first. And I actually not working on Gemini right now. What I'm working on is a chapter called Shadows and Starlight. So I'm going to select this. And I think it should also be aware of what happened in the previous chapter as well. So I'll select that as well. Okay, so I'm going to say, can you give me your feedback on Shadows and Starlight? And you can actually just say chapter 46 too. It can figure that out. But I just like typing it out just for me. And it'll go ahead and give it a think. And depending on how long your chapter is, it could take less or more time to come back with a response. And here you go. So what you can see here is basically referencing this line here. The green glow and Emma contact, or highest focus, and so basically essentially referencing each line, so you can find where it's what it's talking about. And then it gives you its kind of thoughts. So it's being, hey, the opening grounds is immediately Emma's POV and works well. The sensory detail of contact fading as a strong. So basically it likes this. Let's see if I can find something that it doesn't like. Line about painting Jennifer's back already shows him as particular. Lean into the tension a touch more if you want the emotional weight to hit harder. Okay, so it says lean into this, and I actually don't quite follow. Like, I mean, I get the point, but I don't understand how. So what I'm going to say is like, hey, this is good feedback. I'll paste that in there. Can you help me research how other authors tackled a similar situation? So you can see I pulled it out of Annotator mode. Now I'm in Writing Buddy because I want to start bouncing some ideas off to try and figure out, what am I missing here? And again, it's going to give it a think. And what it's going to do is it'll look through how other people other authors in similar situations, and see if I can find some advice. So here it's going to say, hey, a few published examples authors handle similar beat protagonists quietly weighing whether to reveal dangerous knowledge to a trusted ally. So that's essentially what's going on, right? So Emma in this chapter, she's been holding something back from her friend Jennifer, and she's I'm trying to figure out how to communicate that this is something that she's kind of struggling with, whether or not to reveal it or not. And so here's how some other authors handle that. So Vin repeatedly holds back details about the deeper conspiracy because naming it would make her friends targets. Sanderson keeps the hesitation short and physical. Okay, so short and physical is the key thing here. Vin's internal voice cuts off mid-thought, then she watches the other character's face while deciding. I'll take a note on that. I might try to have her watch for Jennifer's face. Something a little bit short and physical. Yeah, that's a good thought. Okay, so this is actually some pretty good feedback, and I'm not going to try and do this in this session, but you can kind of see how kind of leverage raised letters to go get feedback on my manuscript in a way that actually, in a way that understands my world and understands what I'm trying to achieve in my style. One of the main things I want to emphasize through this tutorial is that raised letters is not writing for you, right? It's not intended to write for you. It's really intended for authors who want to write, who have a story in their mind, and they want to tell that story, but they need some help. They need, and raised letters is intended to help you achieve that. So, all right, thank you.